YouTube, but I'm going to share this live out with some of my friends before I get started, if it'll let me. Apparently not. Okay, so I guess we're not doing that. Alright, so we're going to do some parasite testing on a friend of mine's sample from her kitty cat. Oh, now it's letting me share. Nice. I'll just share it with everybody who's online right now, I guess. No one's in here anyway. I'm talking to myself. But for YouTube, first we want to gear up. You don't have to use a mask, but I am because this sample is particularly stinky and you always want to wear gloves for your protection and the samples. I'm going to get 2 pair because we do this in 2 stages. You know, I should probably share it with the person whose sample it belongs to so they can watch it live if they want to. Let me see. What even is their name on TikTok? There we go. Hi, Judy. Thanks for joining the live. We're going to run some parasite tests on a friend's kitty cat. Well, their sample, not the actual kitty cat. We're just getting started here, so I'm going to glove up because I don't know if you know anything about parasite testing, but it is poopies. So we don't want to be touching poopies. I am going to do this sample collection off camera because I don't know if TikTok is going to be okay with doing that, but we're going to get started probably just with the supplies that you'll need. Obviously you're going to want gloves. This particular sample is really stinky, so I'm going to wear a mask. And then you're going to want your salt solution. I don't remember the ratio off the top of my head, but salt solution. We want a discard tube and the tube that you're actually going to run the sample in. I always run 2 samples just because, in case one gets messed up. But yeah, I'm going to do the sample collection kind of off camera because it's poopy. And I don't want to show TikTok poopy. I don't actually know why the friend wants this sample tested. I didn't ask. I just said yes. Because it's content and I do this anyway for my birds. And now that I think about it, I probably should have gone ahead and set up to run a test for my birds as well. Oh God, like I said, this sample is so stinky. Okay, maybe I guess I see why they wanted it tested, because it smells awful. I mean, you are going to see that it's brown, but not that it's... I just don't want to show a turd on TikTok. So I'm going to seal this back up and we are going to discard this sample and get it away from me as fast as possible because it smells awful. Into the trash. All right, we got our 2 samples. And now I'm just going to dissolve that in the salt solution. I'm going to do it off camera until it's just a brown slurry that is unidentifiable as poopies, so that TikTok doesn't get too angry at me. That's why I use these little tubes, is just for dissolving. And I use some toothpicks to help kind of stir it up and help me handle the sample so I don't have to do it with my hands. Even though they're gloved, it's still kind of gross. So there's our first sample. It's still looking pretty gross, but not as gross as a straight up turd. And honestly, I'm not a professional, by the way. I forgot to add that. I'm not a professional. I'm not a veterinarian. This is not medical advice. This is just something that I learned how to do on my own because I was having some issues with parasites with my birds, and It's generally just really difficult to find a good avian vet, and I was having a really hard time finding good quality vet care for them, and they were just all the while deteriorating, and I had to do something. So I learned how to do these parasite tests on my own so that I can monitor them at home. And pigeons kind of fall in this weird in-between where they are livestock as well as pets. So I was able to find lots of things over the counter that were help them. All right, so back to the test. I'm just going to use this simple little piece of gauze. I'm going to rip it. And this is going to be our filter that we're going to filter the sample through. I always use the tube to just push it down in there and get us a nice reservoir so that we can filter our sample. Tear this up, and you can use one square of gauze like 4 different times. All right, so we'll do that, and then I'm going to make sure that our sample is really good and dissolved into that salt water. Shaky, 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 shake. So this is our setup so far. This thing is really nice. I'm really glad that I bought this. I originally bought it for chemistry testing my aquarium, but it has come in handy for all things test tube. Shake, shake, shake. Shake our sample. Shake our sample. Okay, we're going to let that filter through just like that. It's always helpful to have a paper towel on the side to just wipe your fingers of all the nasty. Okay, and these tubes we are now done with. That's okay that there's some sticking in the side. We don't need everything in there. We're just going to throw those away. That's yucky now. All right, and then I always kind of squeeze the sample through here so that we get as much of the fluid as possible out of it. Don't want to waste it because I don't want to rehandle the sample because ew. And see, sometimes you make little mistakes, and that's why I always run 2. Like this sample did not get as much fluid as the other one. And that's why I put paper towel down as well, because you see that sample's leaking everywhere. Okay. Now that part is done, I am going to sanitize my hands really quick, because now I'm going to start handling our slides. I have my little kit off camera here. I got this microscope for Christmas one year, and I love it. It's for kids, but it works. I mean, you really don't need a fancy microscope to see a lot of stuff. And it comes with all the slides and all of the slide covers and all of that. So I really like it. I use it all the time. I reuse my slides. So one of them has a P on it for Pringle, and the other one has a T on it for Triscuit. Okay. What we really need is our slide covers. Ugh, my slide covers are so beat up. But that's okay. All right. Now here comes the actual test part. So I'm going to move these up. And we're just going to fill this all the way to the tippy top with our solution. When it starts getting near the top, I try and fill it a little bit more gently and pop those bubbles, because the bubbles aren't going to affect the test, but it is going to make the test more difficult to read. And we're just going to fill this all the way up to the very tippy top. And do you guys remember in school learning about, damn it, I'm trying to sound smart and I can't remember what it is. Surface tension, Jesus. So you want some surface tension. Get that little bubble going on the top. You see how it's a little bit overfilled? That's what we want. We're going to fill our other tube, our secondary tube. And all the way to the tippy top. Excuse my shaky hands. Okay, try and minimize bubbles, and we're going to get it all the way to the tippy top with that little surface tension bubble on top. And you can already see the difference between these two samples because I lost some of this sample's fluid. It's much lighter than this one. So that's why I run at least 2 samples, if not more, at a time in case I make a mistake. Then I don't have to start the test all over. Now all that we're going to do is take our slide cover and we're just going to pop it right on top like that. And that's it. And now we have to wait for 10 minutes and then we'll be able to read the slide. So while these are processing, I'm going to clean up everything that I can. Ooh, damn it. See, I just keep messing up this this tube. So thankfully we got 2 samples instead of 1 because mistakes happen. Okay, so while we wait for that to sit, it is 4:21. So if you want to come back later at 4:30 to read the results, that's great. Or if you want to stick around and just listen to me chit chat and kind of clean this area up and get it ready for reading, then you're more than welcome to stick around as well. But I'm going to take the gloves off. I'll need gloves once we're ready to read it. But I'm just going to kind of pick some stuff up here. I don't need these anymore. They didn't touch anything, but I'm still going to throw them away. I have an incoming call from probably a scammer. No, thank you. I don't care. I hope that you guys can't hear that. Also, at this point, the samples don't really smell anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and remove my mask as well. I'm going to get some new gloves and some more paper towels. And I guess while we're hanging out, waiting for our sample to process, we can talk to the birds. Or I guess maybe I can set up to run a test on the birds as well. Yeah, it's been about a month since they've had a test. I guess I could set up for that. Well, no, I don't feel like doing all that. We can do that tomorrow maybe. It'll be another live, depending on how well this one goes. And I really appreciate everybody that is in here, but it is a pretty small room. So if nobody is interested, then I probably won't do that. I just want to kind of absorb some of this sample that we spilled. I say we like you're even here. It was me. I spilled it. I'm the problem. It's me. Hi. Okay. All right, so when that's ready, obviously we're going to need our microscope. You pull it gently as we can. Honestly, I probably should let it process for a little bit extra time because it's cold in here. You know, I do this from home. This is my garage. So, whenever you're working with any kind of reactions, they are slower when it's cold. Usually, I'm sure that there's some exceptions. There always is in science. Right. And this little nifty handy dandy thing holds the phone so that I'll be able to show you the inside of the microscope. I don't have one of those fancy ones with a HDMI. No. Well, maybe not, because my bolt is missing, apparently. The reason I moved into the garage is because my cats can't stop themselves from fucking with everything, so... Well, damn it. I'm missing my bolt. I mean, I guess I can just kind of hold it, but it's much more difficult to get a nice, nice look. Yep, nobody's in here. Okay. Maybe I can find a bolt that'll fit. Why would you give me a flash goal when there's nobody in the room? Stupid. Oh, God. Can't even get this stupid thing open. Nope, that's not going to fit. Well, damn it. I bet it's still in that box somewhere. That's infuriating. If anybody's here in the live or from the FYP, I'm just looking for a bolt that I'm missing. Damn thing. In 6 minutes. Oh, nobody's here. Okay. Everybody always says that they're going to join and then they don't. This door should not be open. Monster Energy. Not sponsored. For anybody watching from the FYP, we are just waiting for these samples to process so that we can see if my friend's kitty cat has parasites. Doing this at home. I'm all self-taught. I am going to be posting this on YT as well, the whole thing, as sort of an instructional. I feel like I didn't do a good job giving instructions, though. So if anybody has any questions on how we got this far, just let me know, and I'm happy to go back over it. We still have about 3 minutes before our samples are ready. I just cracked a Monster Energy. Thank God it's Friday. Sounds like I have an Amazon delivery. God knows what that is. I never know. Yep, there goes my dog barking. I got some kind of delivery. For anybody just joining or watching from the FYP, we are waiting for these samples to process. We got about a minute or two left. And then we're going to check them out on the microscope and see if my friend's kitty cat has parasites. Any parasites that we can see. I'm not a veterinarian. I can't recommend doing parasite testing at home. And that's also what I told my friend. But, you know, times are tough. And sometimes you learn useful skills. And, of course, I did this for her for free. So I don't charge for this service or anything because I'm not a professional and that doesn't feel right to me. But I learned how to do this because my birds had some parasite issues when I first got them. And I was really struggling to get good veterinary care for them. Now I have an alarm. Jeez. Good veterinary care for them. Now I have an alarm. Jeez. I hope that y'all can hear me. I have my headphone in. Okay, and it does have a mic, so hopefully it's worked every other time so far, so. Thank you to the two people, one person who is sticking around. All right, we got 1 more minute left, and then we can check out the results of this test. I did invite people to leave and come back, so hopefully, if some of you were here in the beginning, you're back now, because it's almost payoff time. We got 1 more minute left for these samples to process, which means I should probably get my gloves on and get my drink out of the lab space, our little makeshift lab space over here. This is my giant bin of test tubes. I get these for free from work. Sometimes labs are just giving them away. So that's why these are centrifuge tubes, and I'm using them for parasite testing. Because it's free. And does it really matter? I don't think it does. All right. We are ready to pull our sample. I'm actually just going to put on 1 glove because once I pull the sample, I don't need gloves anymore because we're not going to be touching anything. Fuck. My slide got dirty. Oh no. We got sample fluid on it. It's fine. We'll just flip it over and we'll use that one for the sample that I already have fucked up multiple times. All right. So when you grab the sample off the top, you want to grab it by the 2 corners. Sorry, you can't see. You want to grab it by the 2 corners and try your best to not tilt it. Because if you tilt it, everything is going to slide to one side and then it's just going to be very difficult to read. So we're going to pull that off and place it down, straight down, the best that we can. Hi, Vicky. Thank you so much for dropping by. I shared this live with so many friends and nobody has come, which is super disappointing, but it's fine. I load all of this up to YouTube anyway, so we'll get views there maybe. I probably shouldn't have said YouTube out loud, but whatever. All right, we're going to read our good sample first because it's the most likely to give us some results. So I like to put it all the way up to make sure that I don't scratch my lens when I'm placing the sample. I don't need this anymore. Oh, thank you so much for the roses, Vicky. I really appreciate it. All right. Then we are going to turn this on, maybe. I love this thing. I use it all the time, and I've never even charged it one time. All right, I'm going to look first, and then I'll show you guys so that it's in focus first. I'll just make it easier. And good news, if the owner is in the room, on initial inspection, I don't see anything. All right, so let's see if we can get our camera lined up just right. It is really difficult to do, and my holder is missing a piece, apparently. So we'll see if we can get focused, please. This is why the holder really helps, because, I mean, it's just as hard to do. It can hold it in place for you. Come on. I've taken many, many pictures of my results through this microscope already. But of course, because I'm live, we want to have technical difficulties and not be able to see anything. All I can see is that my lens is very scratched. Let's see. Popped it off. I don't know if I showed my face there. I prefer not to on the internet. Good thing nobody's in here except you, Vicky. Which, I mean, honestly, little hobby farm is here. Oh, wow. Oh, you can almost see right in the middle of the screen. That's one thing that I did see in the sample. It's nothing. It's just debris. Of course, none of our digestion is perfect, and you'll have something left at the end. Oh, come on. Maybe if I turn the light down, it'll have an easier time. Somehow I knew that this was going to happen. Let's see. Let's get you more in focus. It looks very clear, though. I don't know if the owner of the animal is in the room. I did share it with them, and I told them what time we would be on. So they could be here, possibly. Oh, there we go. Almost. We just have a little shadow. This is one of the clearest samples that I've ever seen, actually. So it's not going to be perfect, unfortunately, because I don't have a fancy microscope. So we're going to get these little weird shadows. Maybe this wasn't a good idea. Especially since my thing broke. Why would it break the day that I wanted to use it? Okay, thanks, Vicky. I think you're the last one in here, so I'll probably just hop off. But thank you so much for stopping by to support.